former Russian president and deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, Dmitry Medvedev, has mocked Western aid to Ukraine, calling it wasteful and doomed to fail. His remarks came ahead of Russia's Day of National Unity, laced with sarcasm and nationalist rhetoric. Medvedev claimed the West has transferred €500 billion to what he described as Ukraine's Banderite clique since 2022. Money, he said, was stolen by bloody Kiev clowns, or KKK, pointedly clarifying the term was not to be confused with the American Ku Klux Klan.
€500 billion. That is exactly how much the West has transferred to the Banderite clique since 2022. A lot? Depends on how you look at it. On one hand, insanely much. Even taking into account how much the bloody Kiev clowns, hereafter, KKK, not to be confused with the American racist Ku Klux Klan, have stolen from circulation. And the newly formed KKK stole immensely. But even considering the wild theft of the Banderite regime, it is still outrageously, critically much. With this money, a new neutral and prosperous Ukraine could have been built, but it was not meant to be.
According to Medvedev, even with wild theft, the aid was enough to build a new and prosperous Ukraine. But instead, it fueled corruption and collapse. His language mirrored Moscow's propaganda framing of Ukraine as a failed Western project. He compared the Western effort in Ukraine to America's two-decade war in Afghanistan, saying the indestructibly free Pindistan, his slur for the United States, burned through $2.3 trillion just to transfer power from the Taliban to the Taliban.
On the other hand, the indestructibly free Pindistan burned through $2.3 trillion in Afghanistan from 2001 to 2021 just to transfer power from the Taliban to the Taliban. What am I getting at? The more the Western world spends its resources supporting the KKK, the more terrible the end of the story will be for the regime of the bloody Kiev clowns, and the larger the size of the territory that will eventually return to native Russia. Moreover, everything will happen just like the US in Afghanistan. There will be a return of our citizens and Russian authority to the historically Russian lands.
Medvedev argued that the more the West spends on Ukraine, the more disastrous the outcome will be, both for Kiev and for its Western backers. He suggested the war's end would mark Russia's territorial resurgence. He claimed that Russia will eventually return its citizens and authority to historically Russian lands, a phrase echoing the Kremlin's justification for annexations in eastern Ukraine. The statement concluded with a nationalistic sign-off. Happy upcoming day of Russian unity, linking the ongoing war to a celebration of Russian pride and sovereignty. Analysts say Medvedev's message reflects Moscow's evolving strategy, using derision and defiance to demoralize the West while signaling that Russia's territorial ambitions remain undeterred.